This is my new video on the Ontario Utilitac 2 folder, and I made another video of this before, but I noticed I made a few mistakes on it, slight mistakes, and I also noticed my video was also very long in duration, and I want to keep my reviews as snappy as possible, so let's get started. For those of you who don't know, the Ontario Knife Company is located in New York, as well as K-Bar, and they're both great companies and they both produce excellent knives, but this particular folder is produced in Taiwan. Look at that. To me, it doesn't matter where a knife comes from as long as the product turns out to be very good. As in this case, the Ontario Utilitac 2 is produced in Taiwan, but it is an excellent knife. And it's a knife that I've been really wanting to buy for a while, and I finally got my hands on one. And this isn't such a pricey knife. This knife totaled up to about $32 on Amazon, and you could get it for probably cheaper depending on what blade shape and what blade color you want, because there is a tensile variant and then there is a black coated blade variant to both knives and as well as a different handle. There is a thinner handle, but I preferred this one instead. But yeah, the Utilitac 2 turned out to be a really good knife, better than what I was expecting. The total length of this knife while opened is 8 inches, so this is a big folder. Closed, the length would be 4.5, 4.6 inches. The blade itself is 3.5 inches, with 3.2 inches of the blade being the actual cutting edge, the rest being the tang. The knife does house steel liners. There is no skeletonizing on the steel liners, so this knife is pretty heavy. Well, it's pretty heavy, and the weight of this knife is 5.6 ounces, so it is heavy, but I still EDC this knife even if it's in the larger and heavier category of knives. The pocket clip is basic, just like the Ontario Rat 1 and 2s, which I will be getting in the near future, and it can be positioned 4 ways: tip up, tip down, right hand carry, and tip down, tip up, left hand carry. So Ontario really addressed this knife to every knife user. Props to you, Ontario. The handle is slightly textured, as you can see, but doesn't really give much traction to the holder. And the material of the handle is Zytel. In some other places they say this handle material is glass filled reinforced nylon, or that's just a fancier way of just saying it's a hard plastic. Still good, but the jimping on the back of the handle and the blade make up for that. Not the most aggressive jimping, but it does get the job done. There are dual thumb studs, easy to access even with gloves on. There is a partial spacer. As you can see, it reaches the bottom but only meets a little more than halfway up the knife. So it does make the knife a little hard to clean, but you can always take it apart. There is more jimping on the bottom of this knife, so I'm guessing that's if you hold the knife upside down, and you know, it could be for a utility situation or a combat tactical situation. You know, hence given the name Utilitac, utility tactical knife. Yeah. This knife was designed by Joe Pardue, who is the son of another famous knife designer, Mel Pardue. And Joe Pardue and Ontario got together to create this knife, so it's, you know, it's really cool that they did that. Um, the blade steel is AUS 8A Japanese steel, or AUS 8A Japanese steel, and China has its own premium quality steel, HCR 13 MOV, which is the equivalent to this. Maybe, you know, slightly, how would I say it? You know, it's not as durable as AUS 8A Japanese steel, but still good. It's popular with Kershaw knives. If you look at a lot of their knives, they're mostly made of HCR 13 MOV steel, and yeah, it's a decent steel. It's not crap. Um, what you can't really see because of the lighting in this room, but it says collector's first production run, and that's what it says on every Utilitac too, at least as far as I know. And you could see it, you can't really see, but it says Taiwan AUS 8A, and you have the name of the designer printed on there, Joe Pardue. The blade shape on this knife is a modified clip point blade with a hollow grind, and you can see it has, you know, a fairly good belly, you know, which makes cutting a little easier. And yeah, the width of this blade, I don't know it exactly, but you can see it's not a really thick knife, so this knife isn't, you know, meant to abuse. If you want a knife to hard use, then I would recommend you get a knife with a thicker blade steel. Maybe something from K-Bar, and you know, maybe something from their Becker series. You know, it's a really good series too. But yeah, that's about it. I wanted to make this video snappy. And does the knife function well even with gloves on? I'd say, yeah, it does. If you're trying to use this knife in cold weather situations, then yeah, having gloves on would make it easy to deploy the knife. It's really good. The jimping works well even with gloves on. So that's all I have to say for now. If I said anything wrong, feel free to correct me on the comments below. Peace out, guys.